Alright, welcome back. So for today, I didn't think that I would be doing anything too, I don't think I'll be doing anything too special. Um, might be a short video. I'm just planning on filling in all the edge cases that we missed in the last video, and then if we have time, I will probably start introducing a backend as well as a front-end framework that I want to use for this. I'm planning on turning this into a game. So most likely I'm going to use Three.js to basically create a 3D environment where people can go in and look at the table and look at the cards, right? Um, Something I'll point out for the backend and front end tech design that I already know that I'm gonna see when I start developing the front end and back end is that both the logic for creating the decks will actually be the same in terms of they don't really need different code on the front end or the back end side. I may or may not just send over a shuffled deck from the back end to the front end to play with. And yeah, the front end will kind of just be simulating what happens, I think, in the exact same way, because it wouldn't really change because you're not shuffling immediately after every single like round. You're kind of just reshuffling once you run out of cards. And I think that's yeah, just gonna be the case. But I guess in the sense of the deck, it'll be twice the storage. I could store all of it in the back end, but um I think it's better to just have the logic in the front end anyways, for the sake of like, this could possibly be an offline game, Yeah, it could work as just a purely front end project. And in fact, I think that's what I'm gonna start off with first, anyways. I don't think there's a particular need for it to be a back end thing. Like the only reason why you would want a back end if you were doing this, really, like if you were to actually make a digital backrack game online, would just be storing users that are on and storing, I guess, their bet sizes and storing whatever they bet on basically for that round. But for the sake of simplicity, I think learning Three.js is enough and it'll be fine to just try that. I am very curious as to how I'll be doing the modeling in Three.js. I don't think they do modeling. So yeah, I mean, yeah, let's just get started because this is most likely going to be the next video's topic. So there are still a decent amount of base cases. As you can see, if it reaches an undefined, it'll in some parts if it reaches undefined, then it actually just breaks. For example, this part. And we're gonna get to the bottom of why it even is reaching undefined. So the best way I can think of is actually a bad way, but maybe console log non-popped every single time it runs after this part, right? So we can see how much it goes. It's resetting. Not that one. Num cards. So typically, this is how I would debug. Ooh, I see. So the num cards are not actually updating. I'm adding to num popped, and then at the end I want it to subtract num popped, right? Here, because this will go to the next iteration, and I also need to have one here at the exact end because it could just be full. Fair enough. Okay, so it is actually running down basically to the end, right? You can see here sometimes it has 6 cards. Sometimes it draws 4 cards. It could also draw 5 cards. Let's see if we can find an example. 6, 6, 5. Alright, here we go. There's 5. And let's see the issues. So 88 to 83. So when it draws 5, it could potentially cause an issue. So we'll start off at this example. So go to our console logs, number 1. So the first event is 6. Now it is kind of confusing that I've made the event numbers as well, because we are also dealing with card values and card numbers. So it is the exact same system, which is not great, but if you guys bear with me here, we'll just write down issues. So play a hit, and actually I realize this is probably a better idea. Compare, because right now we're just looking at what the events are, but we don't actually know what the numbers are. So this will be better. So let's try and find an undefined. This is faster because I know that the odds of it hitting undefined are probably very slim. So I just want to look at the places where, yeah, it looks like it's when it hits 5. So player value is 2, P2, and banker is 7. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So the player value is 2. We'll go to first eval. I should move this comment down here actually. And just so you guys know, this is how I would actually debug at work if I do encounter an issue. Normally, actually 90% of the time it is pretty similar. It's like some data issues and some potential edge case that you just miss, causing an undefined or something similar, right? This is a lot harder to debug, I would say, compared to a front-end bug, but it's a similar concept on how to debug it, right? But yeah, front end would be a lot easier, because normally if something goes wrong and something's undefined, it just won't render, or like a specific part that you're trying to do won't render. So in this case, it is a banker natural, right? Actually, is it? No, I don't think so. Tween is natural. Yeah, okay, so it's not a natural. So neither of them are naturals. And the player value is a 2. So it returns a 6, which I believe it should. Unless, I don't think a banker would stand. Oh, okay. So if a banker's 7, he will stand anyways. Okay. So if, hmm, 6 or 7 stands. So the issue that I'm concerned about with this is, if I put in an if statement saying if banker val is equal to 7, and then I wanted to return 7, or actually I think it's 9 with banker stand. The issue with that is, I believe 7, 7. Maybe it's okay. I think, again, we should look at the note. Banker must stand on 6 and 7 on the initial deal when a player has 6 or a 7. Huh. So if they both have a 7, they should both stand. That's what I'm getting off of that first line. If the player has a 7, and then I guess if the... So now I'm thinking I should split the evals with a player eval and a banker eval. Let me think about that. Quite the convoluted code, let's say. I'm actually curious why it returns an undefined though, because a player hits, and I'm guessing he hits a 7. In the 7. Okay. So we need to visualize this better, because right now I'm just thinking that no matter what, both get evaluated at the same time. Both banker and player cards get evaluated at the same time. But it looks like it doesn't. Although it could just be the case where if these two conditions meet, then they will result in a draw, right? It does look like that is the only case where it happens, but it's weird because well, regardless, I need to make it so that doesn't just return a 6. So player, and if a anchor. I don't know why I'm doing that kind of comparison when I can just do this. Okay. Oh, okay, I need it there, but for these two, equals is fine. You just do an or. Hmm. Then I can do a natural eval, I think, because natural eval is quite misleading in the name, so I might change that now, because it's really just a eval, right? You're just comparing the two and seeing which one is greater. It doesn't, the value of the player and the value of the thing doesn't have an effect. What's going on? Why is it complaining? Eval 2, I guess. I think eval is a function of itself, so might not be able to use it. And now we have this case, right? Which I believe is good. Just return it because it actually returns a value, and they catch it and then return it. Let's see if there's any undefined issues. There should still be, because I think a 6 and a 7. Player hit. Somehow it's entering here. Even though, wait, a 0 and a 7. Okay, that's why. So a 0 and a 7. So we've got this aspect cleared up, which is good. And I think banker must draw on 0, 5. I should already have that. Yes. Now we're gonna find out where the undefined issue is actually happening. I just thought of an interesting idea. I kind of want to make a function that combines every possible number that you could get in Baccarat to see if as a form of stress testing. So it'll go from 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 1 5, 1 6, 1 7, 1 8, 1 9. And it'll just basically terminate when an issue actually comes. Okay. And that'll come in a sec. Okay. So 0 7. And the player hits. Okay. So now we're going back here. So the player hit. And it goes here. The third card. Now I'm curious where the undefined runs. It runs here 100% because it's returning undefined, and then these two values are undefined. So the second event is returning something that isn't supposed to return a undefined. So third player card. Let's just do 2 2. Oops. What is happening? Do that there, and then we'll take a look at second eval, see if we need to check anything. Actually, it does look to be okay because it's running in here. I don't know. I'll leave that for now, I guess. That wouldn't really like get affected. So it's undefined. Okay, so I'm guessing it's this part where that's my suspicions. This is undefined. Okay. So surprisingly, it doesn't actually return that many. Yeah, so this is undefined, it reaches here. Now, in what case does it actually cause it to reach this point? So in the case where, I guess maps is undefined. Why would it reach undefined though? Let's go back here. What if another one there? Okay, that's bad. Don't ever do this. If you're writing a lot of console logs and then you have 2 1s, you're gonna get very confused. Okay, compare. So it's a 3 and a 7. Player hits, and he gets a 6, so it's a 9. Oof. I'm pretty sure that's an instant win because banker stands here. I'm pretty sure. So the banker can't hit, essentially, because he never was gonna hit, right? So the banker hits, and so player now has 9, and it's 9 to a 7. Second eval. Well, that's good. Smaller than 2, you could have 0. And banker hit. Right? But banker already stands. We just don't have that yet. Yeah, we could have that if banker val is equal to 7. Then just return 9, was it? Banker stands. And now we can grab it from here. If second event, then we can just do a natural eval 2 of player value modulo 10 and current banker value modulo 10. And that should clear up any cases of undefined. Just for sanity's sake. This is not the fastest way to do it by any means. But it definitely helps. And just for sanity's check again. We'll run it again, see if we find any undefined. It shouldn't be there. So now we are through. And now we have a, I imagine, fully functioning backrat machine. Backrat function thing. Let's do this. Give it all that. And I'm gonna next event. Players play card or bank card. Did I get here? The drawing. No. Events of the winner. Let's do res because I don't want to worry about that. That does not equal 7. Continue. What does that mean? Does not equal 7. If the banker does not hit it. Huh. That's kind of weird. I don't know why I have that there. I think this can maybe be moved up. And then, last but not least, if it yeah, we can combine it. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a whole bunch of timeouts, so we can kind of see each game going. Would that be appropriate? No. Set timeout. What? Handler. What's the handler in set timeout? I've not used this in a minute. Code. Oh. that then. That's maybe too long. 5 seconds, I think. How about to start then? It is not timing out. Oh, you know what? I am. Don't even wait. How do I use this thing? Called. It's 5 seconds to execute. Oh. Well, that's not gonna work because this isn't exactly a function yet. Hmm. Well, maybe not. Maybe I can't demonstrate, but we can just do one game at a time. Okay, so player's value is 6, and that already looks like incorrect. If the player stands, oh, yes, I definitely need to split these two because I think it's returning this one. Turn 8. Okay, that's a natural. Like, can't do much about that. Natural again. Okay, here we go. So the player's value is 0, and the banker's value is 1. So player hits, and he gets 4. And the banker hits, and he gets 3. So the player wins. Okay, this is horrible. This is so incoherent, and you don't even see what is going on. Like, this is probably the nastiest thing I've ever seen in my life. But it works, and it makes sense. Right? Tie. Yeah, that looks correct. 208. That looks good. I should need a player, need a banker here as well. Where is natural? Okay. You know what? It's good enough for today. I think this project is 100% gonna be like better when I actually start building something that you can see and that you can like kind of feel. I will definitely be needing to clean up this code because right now it's a complete mess, right? Like it's just all all over the place. You got just so much logic fitted into this one function. Like how many lines is this? It's like 53 lines of code, just of sheer logic, and it's completely mad. Honestly, it's quite a sickening sight that I wrote this. But listen, if it works, I think that's a pretty bad mindset to have actually. If it works, just do it until it works, because you're gonna have some very bad practices on reaching that point. But hey, you gotta learn somehow, right? You gotta learn to make new stuff somehow, and I think the value of it, if you're not 100% confident in your own like coding abilities, this is definitely the best way of building that repertoire up and building that experience up and the confidence. But normally you would like be thinking about the parts and be separating the concerns properly, and I guess designing your system in a way where it's not just a complete mess of code, and it actually has some steps to the madness, right? But yeah, like I said, if you're new to this, it's definitely better to just dump everything and then try and figure out what can be separated, what can be combined, and then how you would optimize this, right? That's your guys' homework. Okay, if you guys can optimize this code, um, my screen's not even big enough actually. Let me just, yeah, if you can optimize this code and then type the optimized version in the comments, I will give you a cookie. I will give you a nice mention in the next video. But yeah, that's the to do for next video, as well as setting up the front end framework. Hope you enjoyed.